Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And we're moving a little slow here this morning. Long weekend. We got lost in many different ways, so truly entertaining. Let's see what the dollar index is doing this morning. It seems to be holding up, still steady. It's the markets themselves. They were up this morning when it came to the stock markets, and now they're like right on the edge of rolling over. Not really think that there's much going on. I mean, up 100 points, down 100 points. That should be a normal day with no problem. Mars, just because it's up 100 points in the Dow Jones Industrial Average or down 100 points, should not be like it means anything at all. Not even 200 points. 200 points means they're starting to pay attention. It's not even 1%. It's like a quarter percentage point. So, anyway, interest rates seem to be rising. I saw, let me see what it looks like right here. You can see the beta up there. Let's put the bond in. Where's that? There's the bond right there. Yeah, see the interest rates are up. It's heading down on Friday. This was last week, and it was a short week because of the holiday. And they put some strength into it. And you can see it was in buys, and now you can see right there it's sliding into the sell there today. And the weekly slid into the sell. So there's pressure. Remember when the bond price, not the yield, not what it's paying, but the price itself, when it's going down, interest rates are rising. And so vice versa. Most of us all watch interest rates. We watch the interest rates, not the price of the bond. But that's how that works, and that's how we're looking at it here right now. You can see this is the 30-year government bond, U.S. Treasury bond, and it's this morning. Let's go back up to it right there. You can see that it's pressing down. It's feeling the pressure, and it's even flirting with the weekly. So, what do you got here? Bill John. Hey, please send the tube link. Can't find it. Oh, okay. Let's do that. Robin's having a hard time getting in this morning. It's the holiday situation. See, right? Let's see, where's it at? There we go. I'm opening it up right now. Oh, I see, there it is. I see Robin on there. Hello, traders. Yeah. Let's see, where is it at? Right there, I guess. Let's go with that. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Click DocDow, and let's go over to here. Paste. There it is. There we go. So, where was I at? Oh yes. So anyhow, the markets are starting off sloppy. We could even go take a peek at the intraday of the. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what the intraday of the stock market looks like. Where's it at? Right there. And right there. Here we go. And we're going to throw that up on the screen. Just shows you how they started the day off. It was up here. Matter of fact, I guess we should try to move that over. Does it go over? No, I guess that is. This is on Friday, where it settled on Friday down in here. And then last night, and the Asian hours and the European hours, and then you can see right around here it was kind of hesitant. It was trying to build a base, and then it rolled over altogether. So the S&P 500 fell from, say, the 5,327 area down to, what was that, about 10 or not, 11, something like that, 1050. Fell down to 1050. So that's the markets and the way they're rolling along this morning. At the same time, I guess we could do this. Let's go see where the daily and the weekly of the euro is. And then we'll go back to the dollar and see if it's making any more. It's making moves that says ouch. That's what it's saying. It's saying ouch. And then here is this is the euro dollar pairs trade. You see, it's been breaking down for 2 weeks now. And it didn't take out the Friday low, but it's trying. Let's put it that way. It's trying to take out the low there. Remember the currencies. We did the webinar on Friday because the currencies and what else was there? Currencies for sure were alive. We had them, ticking away. There was action, so we could see that. We had that inflation number come out on Friday, and now I guess they obviously saw it as a positive, so it lifted up, and then here we are now sliding down, having some pressure on it. So I thought the number looked bad, but they seem to act like it was good. You never know with them. What I saw a headline this morning in one of the financial pages talking about the idea that everybody wants a cut, and they want it now. They want those interest rates lower, and I just don't see it happening. There's a index at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange in Chicago that the funds use. And what they're saying is they think there's going to be 3 interest rate cuts going into by the end of this year. Mr. Powell said the same thing. And some of the big, the big leaders in the financial markets say no. So, matter of fact, they say they'll be surprised if there's one cut. And they think it'll be after the election. So it is turning into a real dogfight, I guess you could say. It's a battle going on there. They can't clarify. We got Fed presidents and board members saying no. We have the Fed chairman saying there's 3 cuts. So I don't know. And the markets are telling us the same thing. They want to believe there's 3 cuts. At the beginning of the year, it was 7 cuts. So I guess they're going to drag this out and drag it out and drag it out, and then before you know it, June, the big number, the big, I guess you could say the big starting line. Here we are in April. Remember, we're coming up to the point where they say sell in May and go away, and so we're now into the month of April. And the question is that will they cut in June? Now, I don't believe they're going to, but they're going to make the market believe that all the way. They'll probably come out with something like, well, maybe not June. Let's say September or October, then they'll start talking. And then maybe we'll get to September or October, and they'll go, well, possibly. I think the Fed committee actually gets together the day after the election. They have their 2-day meeting. It's 1 day after the election. Maybe then they may try to, lower rates, but I really don't think they should, and a lot of people don't think they should, and so we're not sure where this keeps on coming from. It's the economists say no. Most of the members of the Federal Reserve say no. But the Fed chair says yes, and the president says yes, and the Secretary of Treasury says yes. So it's going to be interesting, I can tell you that. I can't wait to see how this all plays out. All right, anyhow. So let's see if we can get a better view of the dollar index. Let's see, where's that at? So that's why, there it is right there. Put it up on the screen again. There it is. You can see that nice big drop there. That's pretty much the whole week of last week. It gave up everything there. What else can we say about it? And then we just saw that the euro. The euro is down, and that's because they see the interest rates rising here in the States. And that is really the magic of it all. All right, I don't see any questions. So if there's no questions, I guess I might as well just drift up to the euro. We'll just take a look at the euro and see what's going on. Where's that mouse at? Right there. So there it is right there. Let's see, let's move that over there. And you can see that's the euro, and it's moving down. And We closed in a weekly sell last week. Taking a sip of my coffee. And we saw same thing with the cable too. Let's see what the intraday looks like. I bet that looks very interesting. It must look like a fall from the sky. There. See if it goes any higher. I guess no. So this is the Friday close up in here at 107.9. They started pushing on it on Friday. And let me just go back to the daily. Yeah, so the daily, they tried to lift it on, there is the last day in the United States open. Then on Friday they tried to perk it up a little bit from the news, and but it closed in a weekly sell, and now we're in a second week starting that off, and it's heading for the lows. It's not heading for the highs of the day, that's for sure. It's heading for the lows. So there's the pressure that we're seeing when it comes to the euro itself. Now the euro, I don't think there's much. I mean, there's a lot of noise in Europe in general, and so when we really drift around, we go over to the cable. You can see the cable's been the same way, closed in a weekly sell. It's been pressured down. It tried to get into a buy right there and just rolled over with it. It was just a push right back down again into the sells. And here we are, and we're not taking out the lows here, whereas over on the euro, you see we're very close. Yesterday, or I guess it's Friday at this point, there's the low, and we're watching to see if today breaks that low. Definitely not. There's just not a lot of, I was talking with somebody, because it's a holiday and you're at different parties talking to different people about different things. And I was talking, someone was asking me about the financial side and the currencies, and I was like, the mixed message we get now from our leadership, I guess you could say, in the financial community is everywhere. We talked about it last week where Sandy Berger, was it Sandy Berger? No, the treasurer for Mr. Clinton, did a analysis of the inflation, and he said he took a look at the stats that they used to use during like the Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan years compared to how they changed them in the Obama years. And he said that the inflation number out of the Bureau of Labor Statistics now, if you go back to the old way, inflation was all the way up to 18.5. So it was going after that 21% inflation we saw in 1980 and 81. At the same time, he said that the inflation right now, measured the same way, would be around 10.5%. So when you have people like that that are not politically motivated, it tells you something. It says a lot. And so you rarely hear anybody talk about, the change in the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Here we have a former Secretary of Treasury coming in and saying, we changed the Bureau of Labor Statistics during the Obama years, and if we go back to it before we changed it, this is what the inflation rate looks like. That was good. Another sip of the coffee. But so we tried to do no harm. For decades upon decades, someone was talking about the currencies. I was like, America's currency is the number one currency in the world, and the world doesn't have much influence over it all anymore. And he was like, no, I understand the dollar is in a disaster. I said, no, the dollar is really strong, and it's not going anywhere. It's staying there, and so it's a very mixed message we have. That's what I'm trying to get across. It's a very mixed message of what is right and what is wrong. And obviously, we know that there's way more information telling us that there's problems. Matter of fact, you can see today they're talking about what they call the Steady 4 or something like that instead of the Magnificent 7. So like 3 of the stocks are not performing very well anymore. So they just keep on shrinking it down. I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, we look at the math. The math is telling us that there's a little weakness here. We're 7 months away from the election. There's a lot of reason to believe markets are going to be on the sidelines for a while. All right, let's shoot back over to the cable. There it is. And it's holding up better than the euro. You can see it's not taking out this low or even this low. It's locking into there compared to, as we did a few seconds ago, we compared it to the euro. And you tighten up the euro, and the euro is doing the same thing. It's not taking out this low or that low. We're really just trapped in a sideways chop. That's really what it comes down to. Let's see what the Swiss is up to today. Swiss did go into a sell on Friday. Let's put that red line in there. Right there. I mean, it was pretty impressive. We went from the 88 area all the way up to the almost the 91 area, maybe. Whereas the high was 90.71. So it was a pretty good move. We've been in that weekly buy, as you can see. They're fighting the inflation right now, and they're doing a very good job compared to what Powell and his crew came up with. They jumped on it and they realized they needed to straighten it out. We're not seeing 101 on the euro, on the Swiss, the dollar Swiss pair trade. We're seeing 90 and 89, 88. I mean, that's nice. I mean, that's not so punishing. Nowhere near the punishment that we saw happen here in the States when it came to the inflation itself. Then we go over to the yen. There's the yen. Oof, what a flat line that is, huh? Just marching along. Looks like it's widened that out a little bit, but it looks like it's trying to get into the buy. So we can put a little bit wider action on this. There. It's been in the sell, but it's trying to climb back into that buy today. Let's see how the Nikkei did. Let's go over to the beta. It was very firm on, what is it? There we are. It was very firm on Friday. They were closed on the 29th, and they're reopened like us in the States, and they're opening down, and it closed down on Friday too. The weeklies, you can see right there, is trying to drift even further south. Over the next day or two, it'll be very interesting to see how they play that out. And the daily, you see, let me just emphasize this like that. There's the daily. You can see that it wasn't a sell for 3 days. Jumped into the buy on, was that Thursday, and we'll keep an eye and see what they're doing on it today. What kind of pressure they're putting on it tonight when it opens up. All right. Dollar index back up there like that, and let's jump over to, let's see, that was the yen. So now let's go over to the great experiment. I guess that's where we head, to the great experiment, and see what they're up with that. Let's see. There it is. Oh, look at that. What a wild move that was. So they pushed it into the sell. That's today. So they did that today. That was right there is Friday. So it looks like they're pushing, unless they get, I think they're going to have to, well, it's going to be very hard to not close in the daily sell. And look at the weekly. The weekly's feeling it too. Went down to 33. Could you imagine if we saw the euro go from 107 or 108? I guess 108. Say 108. We'll round numbers out. To 208 or 308, like that. When it was at 35 this morning at one point, it's traded as low as 33, and now it's back up to 34.48. Ooh. Talk about one of the biggest, widest moves yet. If this thing closes unchanged today, oh my goodness, what a freak out that will be. Somebody got suckered hard. So, all right. So there's the Turkish lira. That's the great experiment. In other words, we watch it every day because we're fascinated by it's an industrialized nation and it's a NATO member, and we're confused on the currency situation. Can you imagine cable going from, like 125 to 325 and then falling back to 225? Oh, that's an incredible amount of inflation. Another sip of coffee. Moving slow and steady today. All right, from there, we'll go over to the South African rand because gold is popping. Popping and a hopping and a jumping up and a doing a this and that. Now we see here, let's widen this out. You see here the South African rand against the dollar the last couple of days. That was Thursday, that's Friday. It's up a little bit higher than Friday. You can see it's trying to play with that there. And we're in a weekly sell from there. From up in here like that, it's pushing down. That normally when the South African rand is going down like that means it's gaining against the dollar. And when it's gaining against the dollar, that's usually a sign of seeing the metals complex go higher. Let's put gold up there. There's gold. And today's high now in gold is $2,286. It's trading at $2,271 as we speak. How much is that up or down? That is, let's see if we can find it. How much is that up or down? That's up 33, but it was up almost $50 today. So, wow, what a punch on the upside. Just pushing and pushing and pushing. The June contract has been in a weekly buy for a long while compared to the last front month one. They've been buying the back months for a while. They're not willing to give this product up any which way. They see the writing on the wall. The level of uncertainty. Could you imagine Mr. Biden winning the election? What freak out that will be? I mean, really, think about it. That's probably why we do see this metals thing. Now, Mr. Trump is leading in every poll everywhere. But they don't, at this point, the markets don't trust the elections anymore. The red states are fair elections and the blue states are just a circus act. They lost 2 more lawsuits, the blue states, they're not really blue states, they're like mixed. But they were trying to allow people who are not allowed to vote, because they're not citizens or they're criminals and things like that, to vote. And they wanted to send them, write-ins, and the courts have told them in 2 states, no. And so they're trying to keep the elections as fair as possible. But this I guess you could say the ruling party right now is doing everything they can to put as many votes in as possible. And so, as they say, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I'm not too convinced that Mr. Trump won't follow the same battle. And next thing you know is it'll be a battle of who can put in more votes. And I believe Mr. Trump will win on that. I really do. All right. So there's June gold going up. Look at that. Basically from 200 to 286. $86 in 3 days. Now, from there, we go to silver, right there. Silver was having a hard time getting rolling, and now you can see it has finally popped up. Friday, that was Thursday. It closed up in a buy. It's in a weekly buy since all the way to the first week of February, and here we are in April. So it's been holding on very firm, very consistent. It's still 50% off of all-time highs, where gold is at all-time highs. And then we go over to copper. Saw an odd article about copper and coal out of Baltimore, but not much more to say about it than that. You can see 3 days in a daily buy right there. Why is that not in there? Let's do this. There we are. There you go. Oop. So it's been in daily buy for 3 days, pushing up. And been in that weekly buy since the second week of February, down in the 370-ish area, 375 area. And now we've traded as high as 420 right there 10 days ago. And now we're heading north again. And we're at 404.30 as we speak. Alrighty, now from there, we'll go to the last of the metals that we look at, and that is platinum. We're moving along steady and straight with no questions. Okay. There's the platinum. Oh, look at that. It's trying to push back in. This morning it was much firmer. Now it's trying to push into the sell. Right there. There you go. Just making sure you see that on the screen. Yep. Okay. So platinum, and again I say it over and over again, I don't know who is willing to sell this stuff. That's why we're saying basically it's the central banks basically, or the Federal Reserve, or both, that are all pushing this stuff down to try to hold the gold down. And that's what their objective is. I mean, they don't want to see $3,000 gold. They don't want to see $2,500 gold. They don't even want to see $2,000 gold. But that's the only way that the markets. Notice they can hold silver down 50% from its all-time high. They can hold, platinum down like 66% from its all-time high, and gold they cannot hold down. So obviously they're long the gold and short the others, and I would not get near a short in any of them. Could you imagine the crazy panic that will happen when the Federal Reserve is finally freed up to be just a steward of the currency and not necessarily chasing and playing games trying to manipulate markets? They are the ultimate inside trader, that's for sure. The ultimate inside trader is the Federal Reserve and the central banks in the world here. All right, so from there we'll go over to the energies. Let's see. We're going to throw up, right, we'll show you real quick the West Texas Intermediate. Yeah, right there. There it is. Now that's the S&P 500. There it is. There's the West Texas Intermediate trading at, where is that at now? I just saw it. $83.63. The high is 66. It's 4 cents off the high of the day. Then we'll go over to the beta, and there's the same. You can see in those buys, marching north, all that stuff. Very strong. And then let's go take a look at Brent. There's Brent right there. And you can see Brent up, going after the Brent. Let's try that. Okay, and then go like this. I'm not sure what's up with the Brent here. We're not getting Brent quotes. That's odd. What was up with the Brent? Something's wrong with that. Let's try natural gas. There's natural gas lifting up. It was down this morning. But what's up with Brent? Not getting Brent quotes. Let me see if I can find it somewhere else. Brent. Let's see. Brent. We're going to find this. Let's see if we can hunt down Brent. We got to go to ICE for that. And usually we get the quote, but we're not getting it now, that's for sure. All right, so let's go check out Brent. Was it the BZ, is it? BZ, yeah. Let's see, there's Brent. And see if we can go for the specific contract. Having problems this morning with the Brent. The contract must be expiring. That's what it must. Okay, I got a quote now at 87.45, but that's Friday. They're not updating yet. Don't understand what's going on there. Let's see. How do we? Let's see if we go with BZ. See what we can come up with. BZ. Let's see. Let's see. What's the? I guess we're looking at May. What are we looking at? April now. So no, we're looking at May. So let's look at June. So M. Let's go with M. There it is. 86.90, down 10 cents. Why it's down, I have no idea. How about that? 86.90 for the Brent contract in June. That surprises me. They are coming off the lows of 86.40. 41, and we're now trading at 86.90. It's coming off the lows and starting to lift. On Friday, it was as high as 87.41. So I would not be surprised, traders, if by the end of the day you find Brent much higher. West Texas is doing it right now with no problem. Now that's traded on the ICE exchange, the ICE, which owns the New York Stock Exchange now. Not the other way around, where the New York Stock Exchange owns ICE. And maybe they're just getting going, waiting for something to start going on Monday morning. But right now, I am getting a quote on the June contract. All right. From there, we'll slide over to natural gas, as we talked about. Let's go. I think I had natural gas up there a few seconds ago. There it is. So there's natural gas. There's natural gas. Yeah, there's natural gas. It's trying to pop up. It pushed itself down to the 149 area, I believe, a couple days ago, like 4 or 5 days ago. And that seems to be the nature of it all. Now, this morning, let's just check that time there. Yeah, that's today. So they're really lifting it up. Let me go over to my main platform and see what it shows for natural gas. There's right there, the May contract. Yeah, May contract's doing the same thing, trading at 185, 184.80. They're trying to lift it up. Let me just show you what's going on right there too, like that. You see, it's pushing into the daily. Weekly has a lot of work to do. It's starting this week, but it's definitely being pushed up and forward. Now, from there, let's take a look at the Spanish oil company. Maybe that might be at 20 and a quarter or something like that, maybe? Something like that. I would just think because of the way it's pushing like that. Let's go over to the beta. There it is right there. It just, you can see it there. It's been we're going to show you the last 10 days right there. You can see it's hanging out a little over 20. It's getting some really weird, indications, but you can see long daily sell and weekly sell. So the energy company down in Spain that we follow to try to follow the cost of energy in Europe is basically telling us that there's going to be there's pressure there. There's definite pressure there. Yep. And that's good, because any time we see energy prices go low, that's a good thing. Because there always seems to be more buyers than sellers. So when it goes down in value, that's like, yeah, good. All right, that completes the energy side of all this. Let's go take a look around the world and see how they've done. We saw the where is it at? The Nikkei, and it finished lower last night, right there. And then we'll take a look at the Kospi out of South Korea. Same situation. They sold it down. Not really. It looks like it almost closed higher today than it did on Thursday. I'm sorry, Thursday. You see, the dailies are pushing into the sell, and the weeklies are holding up in the buy. Oh, and let's just check the Nikkei again. I think the weekly's holding up in the buy there too. Yeah, see, it's still 10 weeks in a weekly buy. Then from there we go to We go to Taiwan. Take a look at the Taipei index right there. Ooh, lots of strength there. Now you can see the daily today is trying to push down, and it is. And it's lower today than it was on, Thursday. So the pressure is on a little bit, nothing major. They're just pushing on these things. Let's take a look at. Saw an interesting statement out of India, but let's take a look at the Nifty 50. It's here somewhere. Where are you in Nifty 50? There it is, right there. And it really spiked up nice on Thursday, and then reopened again today, and it's higher again. And the daily and the weekly are holding up pretty well. The daily's been in the buy for 6 days. The weekly 2 full weeks now. The pressure is on, and we'll see what they do going into this week. But it's 2 full weeks. This is probably a third week in a buy at this point. We'll see how that comes out tomorrow morning on the webinar or at the close tonight. And the action we're seeing in the Nifty 50 says, when you go back and look at the chart there, it's up at the top end of its range for the last 3 months. All right. Let's see now. Let's go over to the all ordinaries index in Australia. Oof, another nice push up, isn't it? Something? Look at that. And we're looking at a good 7. This is probably a 7th week in a buy at this point. And it's really pushing up. Then from there, we let's see, what do we do? That's pretty much the Pacific. Do we have any other products? Let's see. There's Thai. No, it looks. Oh, let's take a look at the Chinese markets. Let's take a look at Hong Kong first. There's a nice pop after that wild push down on Thursday, right there. Let's just make that bigger because something's looking weird there. Okay, that's Thursday. They're not showing us a quote yet today. Yep. Okay. Let's see. Now from there, let's go to the Hang Seng, because there's a lot of strange stories coming out of China. They're really having a hard time getting rolling. Doing that pickup. The idea that China starts to lift, gets some strength. Their economy is really dogged at this point. It's just not able to get rolling. And there's the Hang Seng. And let's just show you what last week was, because that's what they're not showing today's quote yet. And so you can see there's Friday. It was a pretty steady week. You can see the daily closed in a daily buy on Thursday. And the weekly is in a sell. Let's just make this bigger because it's on the edge of going into a buy. So we'll see what they do with it, coming into when they finally start trading again. That is The whole Pacific now. Not really. We still don't have the Philippines in there. We need to. We'll have to get the Philippines in there and try to get. Who else is it? I'd like to get in there. Philippines and who else are we missing? Singapore. I'd like to get Singapore in there too because money likes to run to Singapore. All right. Let's go over to Europe. Europe may be closed today. Looks like it. There's the DAX, and that was Thursday, and there's nobody trading there now. Let's take a look at Paris. There's Paris, same thing. They closed up for the day on Thursday, and weekly buy just like the DAX, but not much. I'll just show you again the weekly DAX, same way. So, and then let's take a look at the FTSE. There's the London market. Closed up on Thursday, and in 9 weeks of a buy. And looks like there's no quotes coming out of there either. So it's a combination now. It's interesting. We have what is it? You have some of the old. I guess you say. You have China and Hong Kong not trading, and we have the European countries not trading for Easter Monday, and we're just getting rolling along in the U.S. So let's go take a look at the U.S. products. Where is it at? There is. Let's start off with the S&P 500 right there, which was the big winner last quarter. And you can see there it's up a little bit. And a weekly buy for 10 weeks. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, same thing, looks the same way, except for it's been in a weekly buy now 3 full weeks, going for a 4th week now. The NASDAQ 100 is showing the weakness. You see there are 5 days in a sell going on a 6th day, and we're 1 week in a sell right there too at the same time. And you can see the product itself price-wise is not exactly getting beat up. It's up a little bit today than it was yesterday, or I guess you could say Thursday. And then let's take a look at the Russell 2000, the most speculative of our 4 indices we follow here in the States. RTY right there. And it's up plus for the day. And you're talking a 4th day in a buy, and you're talking about 10 weeks in a buy. So now they watch the Russell because that's the most speculative of the stock indices. And so it's got the weakest. And what I mean by that is that something like 40 or 50%, almost 50% of the companies in there over the last year is losing money. Only 50% of them are actually making money or earning money. So that's what you would really call. I mean, imagine it's like back in the old days where Amazon and Google and all that did not make money, and they still bought them. And in this case here, they're not making money, and they're sideways. They're not at all-time highs or anything, but they're definitely climbing towards it. That's for sure. I think the all-time high is like 2,600. We're banging around the 22s. So it makes it interesting and challenging trying to understand. These they're low capitalized. I think the biggest company in the 2000 is something like $4 billion or $5 billion. They go all the way down to $500 million in market cap. So they're definitely small companies, relative to, you're talking about, was it Microsoft now is a $2 trillion company? Something like that. Might be $3 trillion. I don't know. The numbers are getting kind of way out there. So big, so wild. I don't take them that serious, but it's all relative in the sense of, when you're following all these things, that's the scale. They're looking at the Russell 2000, and then at the same time, they're looking at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So, all right, let me finish off this coffee. There we go. Got that coffee done for the day. All right. So from there, anybody like to see anything? No one's. It's been pretty quiet. I imagine just because of the fact that none of the stock indices in Europe are moving along, we're not seeing any questions out of Europe. So, and here in the States, we can take a peek at possibly some of the stocks. They're going to get going in 12 minutes. So let's see what some of the stocks are doing. Close that. Yes. And that is the, what is that? That's the Dow Jones, no, that's the S&P 500. That's the currency, but we're going to go to some individual stocks. Yeah, there's the S&P 500. They've made a new low. They're getting down to the Thursday close. Now let's take a look at some of the stocks themselves. Open workspace. There's that. Let's take a look at that. This way, some people who normally are around, they'll be able to look at the video and go, oh, okay, now I know where like AMD was or something like that. There's Tesla. And that's a trade today. It's pretty much unchanged or up a little bit, but it went into the sell on Friday. And then there's Apple. Now Apple closed up on Thursday, but it wasn't in a buy. And there is, oh no, that's Thursday. So we're not even seeing a quote. Let's see if we can get a pre-market quote in that. Right there. Okay, so it's down a little bit. I really don't expect to see it get any further down to. If it gets into the 150s, I'll be surprised, or like 149, that type of thing. The low 50s, high 40s, I'd be surprised it gets any lower than that, and that would make it a 25% retracement, basically from the $200 area down over the last 6 months or a year, after coming from the 144 area. You can see it's been in a weekly sell, Apple, which used to be the leader. You know, they had options. They had like 2-day options in it as a stock, which was very unique. All right, now there's Amazon. You see Amazon holding up pretty well there. It's higher today than it was on Thursday, and it's trying to climb into a buy. And it's been in a weekly buy for like 20 some odd weeks. It's been in a weekly buy. Amazon's been in a weekly buy now since October. So all of November, all of December, all of January, all of February, all of March, 5 months. We're almost a half a year in a weekly buy. And then from there, we'll jump over to another one of those hot and heavies. Let's take a look at Meta. There's Meta pushing into the weekly sell this week. How long has that been in a weekly buy? That's been in a weekly buy also since the end of October. So it's flirting with a weekly sell at the moment, and in a daily sell now for 5 full days. And we'll take a look at Google. There's Google. Google looks like it's up a little bit today, but flirting with the sell on the edge. And it's only been in a weekly buy for 2 full weeks. This is starting a third. So it went into a weekly sell up in the 140-ish area, drove itself down to 130, bounced all the way back up again, and now it's trying to, it's holding on to the weekly buy, so it's not trying to do anything too bad for itself. Then we'll go over to, let's see I think Netflix is one of the biggies too. So there's Netflix. You see it's 3 days in a sell there, and it's pushing into a weekly sell. Now let's take a look and see. It's been in a weekly buy since middle of October. So the last 2 weeks of October it was in a buy. So it's been in a buy all the way straight across. There. So that is the majors, I guess you could say. That's the 4 top stocks. I guess Microsoft is in there too. So Do we have even Microsoft? I don't think we do. Let's see it. Let's take a look at AMD. AMD, well off its highs of the last month and pushing into a weekly sell. And let's see, who else out there? Let's see. I guess it's. Oh, I see. That's a stock one. Let's do this. Let's open this up. Right there. Okay, so here is. That was AMD. I think some of the other stocks that we watch. Okay. There's MU. And it's holding sturdy and firm. But in the second day now of a sell. But in weekly buy since the end of February. All right, traders, we got to come up with a name today. What is the name of what's the title of today's market? That's the bigger question. What should we title this webinar? It is true. We've been calling the Federal Reserve the insider trader. So it's not hard to believe that we've been leaning in that way because they've been doing that stuff. I mean, it's pretty obvious they're inside trading. So we have to come up with something. We used that last week. So how about a holiday shortened trading or holiday? You know, it's so. You know, we know that the holiday has slowed the market down, and we know that the Federal Reserve is not going to let anything fall apart. So, even with holiday markets, the markets are still firm or steady. So, I think we'll call it something like that too. Title, let's see. There's there. So let's come up with a new title for today. Title today. Have to come up with something neat. Title today is A Tired Market Holds On. Markets tired markets hold on. That's pretty much the only way to look at it. And that's what the Fed wants. That is literally what they want. They want they don't want markets to go anywhere. They want them to just stay steady and not fall apart, and gold, we could have easily said, new all-time high in gold. That would be a goodie too. Maybe tomorrow with the market, let's put it this way, the whole world will be open tomorrow. We'll see where gold is tomorrow. But today it was up over $50. So that says that they're reaching for something without anybody slowing it down. In other words, the Federal Reserve is not knocking it down, whereas they're knocking down everything else around it. All right, traders. Happy trails to you until we meet again tomorrow. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders.